ग्लोबल स्किल डेवलपमेंट मिशन में आपका स्वागत है।
I think you're really going to like this exercise. I'm going to nail some of the common questions that I get asked all the time and really hopefully be able to help you get started, or at least kind of get your first toehold so you can kind of get off the ground here. So get your notepads ready. Here we go. Getting started and how to land work. The first thing that I want to address is building a portfolio. You're going to need a solid portfolio to either start landing freelance work or landing a position as a paid designer on a staff of some sort. Okay, you need a portfolio. You got to have a portfolio. But I really want to stress this. Don't put everything into your portfolio. Only put your best material into your portfolio. Your portfolio is a place for your best work, not all of your work. Okay? Now, you don't need to work on real projects with real paying clients in order to build a portfolio. I remember doing this way back in the day. I made up my own projects, and I recommend this to all sorts of people who are just starting in the field of graphic design. I'd make up a few fictitious companies, and I would design a brand for them, or a website for them, or business cards for them, and so on. And that's really what I encourage you to do. Create a logo for a company that doesn't even exist, or design a brochure or a business card for a fictitious company as well. What you could also do, this is kind of a cool idea, is find some poorly designed flyers or mailers in your mailing box or websites and redesign them using the principles that you and I have discussed here. And what you could even do inside your portfolio is show the before and then show the after with a small explanation that would explain to a potential client or employer why you made the choices that you did, what you didn't like about the original, and why you made your changes. Okay? You could also mock up ideas for a website or even a mobile app as well. Now, what's cool about this idea of making up your own projects is it's going to allow you to fairly quickly build up a decent portfolio, and then as you begin landing real paying work, you can slowly start to replace your self-inspired or self-made projects with your real, actual commercial work. Okay? So there you go. Great idea for building up your portfolio. All right, now next, this is a great idea. Build a website for yourself. This is going to give you the real-world experience of building a website and handling all of the challenges that building a website brings. In other words, you're going to learn, of course, about HTML and CSS. You might learn about WordPress as well, perhaps some of the web-related features inside applications like Photoshop and Illustrator. You'll learn about web servers and uploading content and updating content and so on and so on. It's great. And you can use your website as your own online portfolio, of course, to showcase your best work. But I have to stress, if this is your plan, if this is what you're thinking, be sure to include your contact information. I'm not saying this to be tongue-in-cheek or silly. I'm saying it because I've seen it done before where a designer has an awesome-looking website, but they didn't include a way to contact them. So as a potential employer, I come along and I go, hey, this guy's stuff is great. Too bad I can't send him an email or pick up the phone and call him. So be sure to include your contact information. All right. Now, the next issue that I want to address, and this is a big one, don't work for free. When you are just starting out, you're going to be tempted to take on unpaid work to help you build up your portfolio. And you know what? This is okay for one or two early projects. So early on in your design career, this is just fine, just to get yourself started. But only take on projects if they really showcase what you can do. If it's some kind of a project that's too simple for you or perhaps beneath your skill set, you're really not getting a whole lot out of the deal. Not only are you not getting paid, but you can't really use it as a good method for showcasing your own skills. I really want to stress that you don't make a habit out of working for free, all right? So maybe one or two killer projects for a friend or for a family member, that's it, okay? You'll inevitably be asked to work for free by just about everyone except for serious professional clients or potential employers. Bear that in mind. So in other words, being asked to work for free is a huge red flag that you're not dealing with someone who's professional. So in other words, someone who's willing to pay you what you're worth values the skills that you've paid for with your time and your money to develop. Okay? So typically, you'll hear phrases like this. And when I hear these phrases, I laugh because I've heard them a million times. Phrases like, we're going to be huge and you'll get loads of free exposure. So in other words, we can't afford to pay you, but our business is going to be hugely successful. Or our band is going to be hugely successful and you're going to get loads and loads of free exposure. Do you know what that translates to? That translates to, I'm poor and I really don't value your skill, but I really need my project completed. That's what that translates to. Here's another one that I've heard a million times. We also want you to design some other projects for us and we'll be able to pay you for those ones as well. That also translates to, I'm poor and I don't really value your skill, but I really need my project completed. And the last one that I hear all the time is, we can pay you in a few months once we finally start making money. Oh, so you want me to take all of the upfront risk then? Is that what you're saying? So again, this third statement also translates to, I'm poor and I really don't value the skills that you've developed, but I really need my project completed. You got to remember, all businesses have startup expenses. And I know you're going to be tempted to work for free. But again, I really got to encourage you to keep it to a minimum. 1 or 2 projects. You have to get paid in one way or another. You can get paid by taking on projects that showcase your skill set, that allow you to add another item to your portfolio. That's how you get paid. So it's got to be a really good project, okay? Now, as I was saying, businesses have many startup expenses, including their visual communications. If they're not willing to cover the expense of how their company is going to be presented to the public and to their customers, then honestly, they likely have a very low chance of survival. Okay, I am very, very reluctant to hitch my wagon to an outfit like that. All right, now the next thing that I want to address, and you're going to love this conversation as well, I get asked this all the time. How much should I charge? How much should I charge per hour? Now, this is going to be the case of a freelance situation. Oftentimes, when you land a job as a junior designer, you're going to be put on a small salary of some sort, and that's going to be that. But if you decide to go the freelance route, how much should you charge? Well, I'm going to answer that question for you in just a moment. Before I get to that, though, let me tell you about how I like to structure these sorts of arrangements. I like to work in thirds. I like 1/3 up front, 1/3 at the halfway point, and the final third upon completion. This seems to be the fairest way to arrange things, okay? And I like to get everything in writing. So in some kind of a contract or some kind of informal agreement, it doesn't have to be drafted up by an attorney or anything like this, just something simple that dictates or specifies where these milestones are. And this is not only for your own protection, but also for your client's peace of mind and protection as well. Okay, so it's beneficial for both parties. Okay, now how much should you charge? As a beginning designer who's just getting started, I don't really think you can charge much more than a few dollars more than whatever minimum wage happens to be at the time of your listening to this exercise. I think now it's about $10 or $12, somewhere in there. I'm a little out of touch. But so anything more than, say, $15 or $17 per hour as someone who's just starting out, I think that's going to be about the limit. Okay? Now, this is in North America, too, by the way. I don't know about minimum wages throughout the rest of the world, but that would be my recommendation. Now, you might be a little bit disappointed by this, but remember, you're a beginner who has yet to prove your skills and your abilities to complete a project under a deadline. And this can all very rapidly change within 3 to 6 months as you build up your skill set and your network as well. And as your skill increases, you can adjust your hourly rate accordingly. If you're good, if you're really good, then you can easily charge much, much more than what I'm suggesting that you start with here. Okay? All right, I hope this exercise has helped to answer a lot of your questions.